Hey guys, what's going on? James here. This is the third video I'm talking about where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are heading into the bye week. And today it's the front office. I've said this before for the past couple of weeks. Jason Licht and his front office are not exempt from blame as to where the Bucs find themselves in. I really do believe that. Yes, you can say that the Todd Bowles and the coaching staff have not been great. Execution the past month and a half have not been great. I would also add on to this. Jason Licht and his front office have not added quality depth at certain positions where there should be quality depth. Now, you can partially say, well, Todd Bowles should be able to develop guys, and the Bucs offensive coaching staff should be able to develop guys. We've seen that on the offense a little bit, but defensively, I think it's a bit more egregious. I personally believe that Jason Licht and his front office have not invested enough into the overall depth of this defense, and it shows. And I know you're going to say, what are you talking about? Antoine Winfield Jr. is the highest paid safety in the NFL. Vita Vea got a bag. They brought back Lavonte David. James, what in the world are you talking about? Okay, well, let's dive into it. So, Vita Vea. Sorry, not Vita Vea. Well, you can't say Jason Licht, look, brought in Vita Vea. This is very much Jason Licht's. He's been here forever. He's been here since 2014. Yeah. He's been here 10 years. This is Jason Licht's roster, okay? Every single player that is on this team, literally, besides Will Golston and Lavonte David, Jason Licht had a hand in bringing in. And at the minimum, had a hand at retaining, okay? On the offensive side of things, you've had good moments. Bucky Irving, Rashad White, bringing in Baker Mayfield as a free agent, bringing in Graham Barton. Luke Gedecke's been a great move. Tristan Wirfs has been a great move. Ben Bredesen's been fine at left guard. Cody Mock is fine at right guard. Cade Otton has looked great on offense. Offensively, Jason Licht has been hitting a lot on starters and stars and whatnot. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have been retained. Of course, you're going to retain those guys. So far, we haven't seen McMillan and Trey Palmer developing, but they still have plenty of time to develop. Plenty of time. Also, bringing in a guy like Sean Tucker as an undrafted free agent was a very good move. Special teams. Bringing in a guy like Tavier Thomas. Bringing in a guy like Chase McLaughlin. Those have been great moves for Jason Licht and his front office to hang their hat on, okay? Even defensively. Look. Vita Vea. Kalijah Cansey. Antoine Winfield Jr. Zion McCollum. Those have been really good things for the Bucs, but there have been missteps. Logan Hall, that's a misstep in my opinion. KJ Britt, I get it, it was a 5th round pick, but that's a misstep. Retaining Jamel Dean and banking on him to be healthy, but also banking on him to rebound from having a bit of a rough season last year has not worked out for Jason Licht and his front office. Trading away Carlton Davis, it seems like, you could have really used Carlton Davis so far this year. Bringing back Jordan Whitehead on paper looked great, and I agree with that. It did look great, but that move isn't panning out right now. But really, I think where Jason Licht and his staff have failed on the defensive side of the ball, and even on special teams, they haven't found a punter, by the way. They drafted Jake Camarda in the 4th round. That did not go well. But taking it a bit of a step further, they have failed in a couple of key positions here on the defensive side of the ball, and I want to dive into that. We talked about Logan Hall, and you do have Greg Gaines there. He's fine. Will Golston's there. He's fine. But really, the D-line's not what I'm worried about, okay? That linebacker group. You should have brought in another veteran. One at inside linebacker. Okay? Right now you have got, and I've talked about this already in videos, the inexperience at inside linebacker shows. You don't have a Kevin Minter on this team anymore. You don't have another veteran to rely on besides Lavonte David in the middle of your defense. KJ Britt, JJ Russell, they look overmatched, and you don't have a veteran to go to anymore. It's a and by the way, like besides Lavonte David, your inside linebacker room consists of a 5th round pick and undrafted free agent players. Okay, Jason Licht should have brought in a veteran inside linebacker. Even on the practice squad, you could have made the argument to bring in somebody. They did not. That's a mistake in my opinion. The pass rush is a big mistake. And that's not even with depth. That's just swings and misses. JTS, swing and a miss. Right, Anthony Nelson, he's fine for a 4th round pick. But he is what he is, which is a mid backup pass rusher. Yaya Diaby has regressed this year. He's very raw. Right now, he is not developing the way the Bucs want him to. And also part of that is on the coaching staff. Chris Braswell is certainly not developing the way the Bucs thought he was going to for a former 2nd round pick. He's been invisible this year. You hope he can pick it up next year. The pass rush has been a huge thing where you are begging and pleading for some type of proven veteran. Because look, this is year 4 for JTS. This is year 2 for Yaya. The Bucs front office banked on Yaya continuing to develop. That backfired. You knew what Anthony Nelson was. Yes, you did bring in Chris Braswell. You also brought in Randy Gregory, and he didn't show up. That's out of Jason Light's control, okay? How could Jason Licht have known that he was just going to go ghost and not show up, okay? Like Danny Phantom. But Jason Licht couldn't predict that. I don't fault Jason Licht for that. But what I do fault him for is not bringing in a veteran pass rusher after the Randy Gregory situation was resolved. Yannick Ngakoue could have been brought in. I was screaming from the rooftops, bring in a veteran pass rusher. They never did, and it's biting them in the butt. A Carl Nassib is not here right now. A Gerald Avery is not here right now. A JPP trade isn't on the horizon. A Shaq Barrett signing isn't on the horizon. They're missing a proven veteran guy. And it's interesting because Jason Licht has usually been good about that in the past. So I don't know if Todd Bowles said, no, these guys can develop, let me cook, and then it didn't go well, or what. But that's another big thing that I knock on Jason Licht is that he did not bring in a veteran pass rusher, and he 1,000% should have. He 1,000% should have. I really do believe that. Cornerback-wise, McCollum's looked great. And I think that's a great hit for Jason Licht. I do. And that's a great tip of the hat for Todd Bowles and his defensive coaching staff for developing Zion McCollum. Jamel Dean, you banked on Jamel Dean, you lost. Tyke Smith has been a good pick. You can't control injuries. But then after that, you did bring in Javier Thomas, but he's a nickel corner. You didn't need depth at nickel corner. You had a guy last year in Christian Izien show good things at nickel corner, and you drafted Tyke Smith. You needed veteran outside corners. And yes, you did bring in Bryce Hall. You did. I thought that was a great signing. He got hurt. Not only did he get hurt, he got hurt early. He got hurt week 1. You did not bring in a replacement for Bryce Hall until a month and a half later with Troy Hill. You should have brought in somebody the next day. Because now what we're seeing is the lack of proven depth here in this cornerback room, even deeper in the safety room as well, where it consists of low draft picks, undrafted free agent players who are way overmatched and are growing pains up the wazoo. And you don't have veterans to tide that over to ease these younger players in. And that is on Jason Licht and his front office in some ways, in my opinion. You see it in the cornerback room, obviously. You see that in the safety room whenever Winfield Jr. and Jordan Whitehead have been dealing with injuries this year. Those have been things. They have been. They have been. Absolutely, they've been things. And it is notable, and obviously you can't control injuries, but you can control bringing in veteran depth. And the Bucs have just not done that this year. They've gambled on a lot of young players on both sides of the ball, and they've been losing in a healthier number of those gambles, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. And also part of that's on Jason Licht and his coaching staff for not bringing in veterans. which is a weird approach because usually Jason Licht has done that in the past. So it is weird. I just wanted to talk about that and talk about how the lack of depth has been affecting the Bucs severely this year. Has been a big reason as to why they've been struggling. Jason Licht and his front office have had a hand in that. Absolutely, they've had a hand in that. They didn't go out and bring in a veteran edge rusher after the Randy Gregory thing. They didn't go out and get a veteran cornerback after the Bryce Hall thing. And I'm not even saying you got to go out and get a freaking whoever, an Xavier Howard or whatever it may be. But get somebody at those positions. Even a veteran inside linebacker, you should have gotten someone in. You should have gotten one of those in the offseason. But now those are going to be question marks going into this upcoming offseason that Jason Light's going to have to address anyway. So it's just like, okay, type of deal. Why didn't you do this sooner is the question, right? And we don't have that answer. We'll never get that answer, but those were some mistakes in my opinion. And I wanted to mention it. So guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions about the front office, what your thoughts are on Jason Licht and his coaching staff, and if they drop the ball on some of this roster construction for this season in terms of the lack of overall depth, specifically on that defensive side of the ball. Again, that's why I point to, hey, Todd Bowles and his coaching staff are dealing with a bare cabinet, because yeah, they are, because they haven't been provided with quality not even quality, any veteran depth has not been provided. I mean, heck, you brought in Tavier Thomas, a solid veteran special teams player. Guess what he did? He went out and made special teams plays a lot this year so far. Crazy how that works. You didn't have to go out and break the bank to bring in whoever, Hassan Reddick or whatever it may be. But they didn't bring in any veterans, and it's biting them in the butt. And that's on Jason Licht, partially on... Well, that is somewhat good bit on Jason Licht and his front office staff. It's not a fireable offense, but it's not good either. So guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions about that down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.